1 p.m. All 5 commissioners are present. This is the board meeting of March 18, 2021. And we'll open with the Pledge of Allegiance by Doug Ritchie.
Please stand and join me in the pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. All right. Public comment will be taken during the beginning and again at the end of the board meeting. Additional public comment periods may be allowed on individual agenda items at the discretion of the chair. It is requested that members of the public provide public comment on those agenda items when they are considered. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker on matters over which the board has a jurisdiction, supervision, or control. It is requested that the public comment be respectful of differing viewpoints and that individuals do not engage in personal attacks or become disruptive or disorderly in conduct during the meeting. In addition to the opening public comments, the public comment will also be taken on the following agenda items, and that'll be item number 6. As of this time, public comment will be taken on those items that are within the jurisdiction and control of the Board of County Commissioners. Natalie, thank you. Go ahead.
Natalie Wood for the record. Please raise your hand if you would like to provide public comment at this time. We do have about 6 people attending the meeting from the public side. I do have 1 hand raised so far, so I'll start with this. And just a reminder, we're currently on opening public comment. And as the chairman said, we will go into public comment will be taken on item 6 during that time, and then also we'll have closing public comment. So I will start with Steve.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. Good afternoon, commissioners. This is Steve DeShera speaking on behalf of the Tahoe Chamber of Commerce. You have on your agenda today a discussion and evaluation of the performance of County Manager Patrick Cates. It's our understanding, and it was just underscored by the chair, that you don't plan to take public comment on that specific item this afternoon. So we at the chamber would like to spend a moment here sharing our perspectives right now. In our dealings with Mr. Cates, he has been consistently professional and responsive. He is easily accessed, and he does spend a lot of time on Tahoe issues, which we really appreciate. Most recently, he participated as the Douglas County representative in our State of the South Shore community address back on February 25th. We hope that you will agree with us that the performance of your county manager has been outstanding and that the evaluation would reflect that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, I don't have anyone else raising their hand, but I do have 2 callers. So I will start with those and see if they would like to provide public comment. I have a number, a 221 phone number. Would you like to provide public comment? Hello, are you there? Would you like to provide public comment?
I am. Is this about the fire sprinkler issue?
This is opening public comment. So anything on the agenda at this point.
Okay. I was just waiting for the sprinkler agenda.
Okay, perfect. And what is your name?
Jim Doobie.
How do you spell your last name?
D-U-B-Y.
Perfect. I'm going to rename you and then we'll call on you at that point.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I have another caller. Do you have opening public comment at this time?
Natalie.
Yes, sir.
Hi, this is Lynn Muzzy. I was also going to comment on the sprinkler thing on item 6. Did you want me to wait until then, or I can give my comment now?
Wait until then. I'll go ahead and rename you and call on you when we get to that item.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have anyone else that would like to provide opening public comment at this time? Seeing none, I think we're good to close public comment unless you'd like to give it a minute or so, Chairman.
Yeah, you can see everybody that's there. So let's go ahead. If they want to make a public comment, they can wait until item 6 or at the end. And let's go ahead and proceed with the meeting. We'll start off with the approval of the agenda. For possible action, approval of the proposed agenda, the Board of County Commissioners reserves the right to take items in a different order to accomplish business in the most efficient manner, to combine 2 or more agenda items for consideration, and to remove items from the agenda or delay discussion relating to items on the agenda. Item number 4 is going to be pulled until a further date. Or was it 3? Item 3? Let me get 4. Item 3 and item 8 is going to be pulled until further notice. Does anybody want to make a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve the meeting, the agenda by Commissioner Noasad, a second by Commissioner Gardner. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. The agenda is approved as indicated. Well, approval of previous minutes. For possible action, discussion to approve the draft minutes of the February 4, 2021 regular meeting and Board of County Commissioners. We have a motion to approve those minutes. Commissioner Gardner?
Mr. Chair, I will move to approve the draft minutes of February 4th, 2021 regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners.
Second.
And we have a motion by Commissioner Gardner, a second by Commissioner Noasad. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries 5-0. Now the board will adjourn as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as the Douglas County Liquor Board. Is the captain here?
Yes.
There he is. Captain, you ready? For possible action, discussion to approve the addition of a package retail liquor license to the existing on-site unrestricted retail liquor license for Clear Creek Hospitality LLC, DBA Clear Creek Tahoe. Clear Creek Tahoe is represented by CEO Executive James Sarcy Taylor. Clear Creek Tahoe is located at 199 Old Clear Creek Road, Carson City, Nevada 89705. Captain?
Good afternoon, Captain Ron Mitchell on behalf of the Douglas County Sheriff's Office. This applicant has completed all required paperwork, paid the applicable fees, and we are not in objection to this applicant.
Okay, all those in favor? Commissioner Gardner?
Yes, I just had a quick question. Is this in relationship to the clubhouse at the golf course?
Yes.
Captain Mitchell, or what is this related to?
Yes, sir, that's at the clubhouse.
What's that?
Yes, My understanding that is the clubhouse at the golf course there.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we hear a motion on this? Commissioner Gardner?
Yes, I will move to approve the addition of a package retail license to the existing on-site unrestricted retail liquor license for Clear Creek Hospitality LLC, DBA Clear Creek. That's spelled wrong on that second Clear Creek, but Clear Creek Tahoe's representative. Okay. At the recommendation of and lack of objection from the Sheriff's Department, Captain Vegetarian. Thank you.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Gardner, a second by, was that Commissioner Rice?
It was, sir.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries 5-0. Item number 2 for possible action, discussion to approve the addition of James Heineman, Executive Director, Food and Beverage, to the existing on-site retail liquor and restricted gaming license for Edgewood Companies, DBA Edgewood Tahoe Golf Course, and remove Sean Murphy and Robert King from the existing license. Mr. Hinman has signed a waiver of notice of hearing. Edgewood Companies, DBA Edgewood Tahoe Golf Course is located at 180 Lake Parkway, State Line, Nevada, 89440 or 449. Captain?
Again, this applicant has completed the required paperwork, paid the fees, and we are not in objection to this adjustment.
We hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the addition of James Hindman, Executive Director, Food and Beverage, to the existing on-site retail liquor and restricted gaming license for Edgewood Companies, doing business as Edgewood Golf Course, and to remove Sean Murphy and Robert King from the existing license.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Rice, a second by Commissioner Noasad. All those in favor by signify by saying aye.
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 Any nays? The motion is carried 5-0. Now the board will adjourn as the Douglas County Liquor Board and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners. Items appearing on the consent calendar are items that can be adopted with one motion unless an item is pulled by a commissioner or a member of the public. Members of the public who wish to have a consent item pulled on the administrative agenda shall make that request during the public comments section at the beginning of the meeting and specifically state why they are making that request. When items are pulled for discussion, they will automatically be placed at the beginning of the administrative agenda or may be committed until another meeting. Motion to approve the consent calendar, items A through H. Is there any discussion on these items? When items are pulled for discussion, they will automatically be placed. Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve consent calendar?
It doesn't seem like anybody else wants to speak up, so I'll do that. I move that all items on the consent calendar, items A through H, be approved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gardner, a second by Commissioner Noasad. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries 5-0. Now we'll go to the, yes.
I was actually hoping that there might be items on that item H that would, those disposal of seized weapons, there might be something of value there that we could do. But in talking with Sheriff Coverly, it's all a bunch of junk. So,
well, it says disposed by the sheriff, and the disposition is not defined. So it seems somewhat discretionary.
Now, in the packet, Walt knows that for the record. In the packet, the listings of the weapons and what their disposition should be are noted in that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Packet.
Yeah. Any further discussion? No. Is Sheriff Coverly still around? I don't really have anything to say about that.
Well, Mr. Chair, I spoke out of turn. I should not have spoken at all on that. We should go to the administrative calendar.
You can talk to him privately about that. Okay, we'll go to the administrative agenda. Item number 1, for presentation only. Ceremonial presentation of proclamation 2021P026, proclaiming the week of March 22-28, 2021 as Brain Injury Awareness Week in Douglas County. Michael Smith, are you available?
Yes, sir.
You'd like to make some comments in regard to this?
Yes, Brain Injury Awareness Week is very important to me. As a military man, you know the effects of coming back home and having the traumatic brain injury. And both my uncles from World War II had traumatic brain injuries. And as fate would have it, I was beaten nearly to death at work because I wore a suit. I ended up in the same boat, and some of my education from being around them kind of helped me. So my goal was to help other people. And thanks to people like Natalie and Paula, we're able to get these proclamations out there. And then one thing I've been doing for a lot of years, as you probably know, is doing public access TV shows. My first one was when I was at brain injury treatment at the University of Michigan. They had us do a public TV show at a local Royal Oak station. We made one called Traumatic Brain Injury. I can't believe this is my life. And it really helped a lot of people in rehab, because the people with the brain injury is a lot different than what doctors say it is. It's just completely different. But in any case, we continued making more shows. And if you go to YouTube, Nevada Trails TV, some of the same shows appeared on our public access station. Dr. Finoff did a great show on sports concussions. And if you have a son or a daughter in athletics, I think it's very important you watch that show. And then also Dr. Doss did a lecture on senior education on brain injuries. And that's very important because to me as a senior, 20 years, they just kind of said I was screwed. And then the last 2 years, Dr. Doss, a young neurologist, said I can have a brain shunt and take the water off my brain, and then I could get my use of my legs back and breathing back. And if you remember me, I'm the guy with the machine and the walker, and I go back to my little place and record the meetings. But thank you guys for letting me have that job. I really loved it, and I enjoyed your guys' company as well. But anyways, the last month of my brain injury public access, I did a show with Mrs. Baras, and she's a consultant in Reno, and she has an excellent one-on-one program. And the best thing about a brain injury is meeting somebody else with a brain injury, because then you can communicate. It's hard to communicate with people who don't know what it's like. So I excellently recommend her. And then I don't know if you're allowed to give out my phone number if Natalie's allowed to hold on to it, but my number is 530-600-3615. The brain injury shows are on YouTube, Nevada Trails TV. It's most of these shows are on Access Douglas County. And since the COVID hit, we're up to 363,000 hits. So we're still working for Douglas County. So hopefully you'll be proud of me. And hopefully, Dr. Doss, I'll get my brain shunt injury from fixed at Stanford. And that's because a young neurologist named Dr. Doss, and she's up here at Barton Hospital. So education, as you know, is very important. And hopefully I can help people get through their thing a little bit easier, save them some time on this stress, because stress is very bad for brain injuries. And hopefully we can get by. And then they can email me at Nevada Trails TV 1056@gmail.com. And then if you don't mind, if people could call or ask Natalie or Paula for the number if they don't have time to write it down, I'd appreciate it. I don't want to put that kind of stress on them, but I must say this, Paula and Natalie are one of the sharpest peoples I've been around. So your county manager's got it made. And I thank you for letting me tell some serious stuff, but this is a serious subject and I just want to help, and I thank you for your time.
Michael, are you available for some questions?
Yes, sir.
Do any of the commissioners have any questions? I have one. Michael, do you work with the VA on this as well?
No, not directly, but what we do is we've had some horse programs. If you are involved with brain injury, horses have been very good for healing traumatic brain injury. So we try to get the vets tied up with the horse people, and then that's been some of the main people we've been conducting. Mrs. Morose in Reno might be working with them, I don't know, but the horse people's mostly that I've been involved with the vets.
Yeah, it's remarkable what an animal can do for us in regard to therapy. Yeah.
With the horse, I was losing my legs after I got hurt. Well, actually, I didn't have any legs, but you sit on a horse, they exercise your muscles for you, and they treat you like protective cargo. I never felt safer than I did on a horse, and I was terrified to get on these horses. And the horses in Douglas County that take care of the Down syndrome children and are just awesome. And I hope you support them as well, because there's a lot of people out this world that need a little hand, and the little things you guys do for the little companies and little charities are a big deal to a lot of people. So life's a cinch by the inch, but hard by the yard. So everything you guys do to help people, I've seen it and I'd appreciated it too, big time.
Mike, thanks so much for coming here and talking to us about this. And it's very important to keep these things in front of people, because we have a tendency to, out of sight, out of mind, and forget. And so what you're doing is very important. All right, partner.
Well, thank you, sir. And if you have any vet contacts, I'll be glad to go to them to speak if you want me to, or they can come to me, whichever way is easiest.
I'll ask around. That's a good idea. Find out.
Because the key is to talk. And then because a lot of people commit suicide, and it's a weird thing. It's not like you want to commit suicide after a brain injury, but it's like some kind of nature thing. It just clicks. And a lot of people, including me, have attempted suicide from their brain injuries. And then luckily enough, something saves us. I don't know what, just little miracles. So, but the more you get to talk about it, less that those things happen, especially if you're aware that your brain's going to say, kill yourself. It has something to do with nature. I don't know what it is. It's not like you're even unhappy. All of a sudden your brain just says goodbye. So those things with vets are even more terrible, because we hear those stats.
Well, we don't want you to do that. We need you to go out and continue to carry the torch. So you've got.
Well, I've had good treatment for the last 20 years, so I am carrying the torch, sir.
All right. Well, we'll stay in touch. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you for your time, and have a great day.
Oh, excuse me, Mark, Commissioner Gardner.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Michael, I don't know if you're aware of it or not. I'm a member of the Douglas County Sheriff's Mounted Posse. We're always looking for ground support people. Not necessarily, you don't have to be a horse rider to necessarily be involved with us. So I would encourage you to reach out to our Mounted Posse and see if there's something that the two of us could pair up on in regards to getting your assistance, and hopefully we can offer some assistance to you as well. So I would encourage you to do that.
I'd be very honored. I love the posse, and I'm well aware of your contributions to Douglas County. And could you possibly email me on the details, and I'll get back to you?
I can. Once again, I didn't catch your email address though. was that again?
Natalie has all that info.
Okay, I can get that for Natalie then. Thank you.
But I'd love to get involved with your program. I've been an admirer for years.
We have an event coming up the 28th out at the fairgrounds at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I would encourage you to visit us.
I'm still making TV shows, so maybe we can do a TV show.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
Yeah, check out the website for Nevada Trails TV on our website, and I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, this looks like it might go somewhere. Thanks again, Michael.
All right. Thank you, sir, for letting me have some time.
Mr. Chairman, are we going to read this proclamation into the record?
I don't know. It's for presentation only. Isn't it? Is it part of the record already?
I don't know. That's why I asked. Usually they read the proclamation into the record. I didn't know if we were required to do that or not. Where's Doug? Doug, you on here?
Yes. Chairman,
Yes.
if I may.
Yes.
Doug Ritchie with the District Attorney's Office. The proclamations are typically read into the record, but it's not required. It is a presentation only item, but typically that includes the reading of the proclamation. It's whatever the preference of the board is.
Well, we can read it into the record. So this is proclamation 2021P-026 proclaiming the week of March 22 through 28, 2021 as Brain Injury Awareness Week in Douglas County. Thank you. All right, it's official. Item number 2 for presentation only. Update from the Douglas County Assessor's Office in regard to the implementation of a new property tax and computer-aided mass appraisal system. Trent Thornton, you've got the floor, Trent. Is he here?
I'm here. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Thank you guys very much for having me and letting me provide this update to you. There's what I want to do is go over a few talking points, and then I'll just open it up for questions from you guys to see if there's anything specific you want me to cover. But what I can tell you, overall, this project is going extremely well. We're very happy with GSA, the company that we went with. The project is moving along very smooth. We are making a lot of progress, and we're very happy with the progress. We're very happy with the way the relationship between GSA and Douglas County is going so far. They're extremely responsive people. We're working with people who have worked for Nevada counties before. The prior Washoe County Assessor, Josh Wilson, he is one of the representatives from GSA, and a gal named Ivy, she worked in that office for about 30 years until she retired, and then she came on with GSA. And most recently, they hired Mary Ann Matz, who comes from Clark County. So we have people from up north. We have one from down south who know Nevada-specific laws and Nevada-specific assessments. So things are going very well. They are custom building our program to fit our needs, which is quite the opposite of what happened before. Many of you are aware, but we did contract with another company prior to GSA. In November of 2019, we started the process of terminating that contract. In January of 2020, we did terminate that contract, and shortly after we contracted with GSA. And really the biggest problem with the prior company is they tried to fit us into their program rather than build their program around us. So we do have we have that going for us now, where the company is actually programming around us. Two important things to note: they have gone live. GSA has gone live in Washoe County, and they have gone live in Lyon County. Now, the benefit with Lyon County is they use the same exact system as we are on right now. So it's fantastic to see Lyon County and their success and how happy they are right now having gone live. So it's a huge benefit to Douglas County. It's actually going to cut down the time it's going to take for us to go live. We use essentially the same system. We use some fields in a bit of a different way, but it's wonderful to see again the success that Lyon County has had so far with the new product. Where we're at now, we're still in the data conversion part of it. So we have written scripts to take information from our system and put it into the new system, and they're running a bunch of tests, making sure things are in the right fields, making sure numbers are calculating properly. And really that's what we're doing right now is we're running numbers and comparing them to our old system and finding differences and then digging into those and finding out what those differences are so we can correct them and move forward with the project. I can't tell you again how happy we are and how smooth this is going compared to what we were dealing with before. It's a night and day difference. It has been absolutely awesome. So far, because of the progress, the project itself, it's a little over $1 million that was approved. Oh gosh, that was back in February or March of last year, probably February because we were shut down in March. But we've only paid about $210,000 of that total. And that's just because of the progress that we've made so far. GSA, another great benefit to them is if you're not exactly where we want to be, they don't want us to pay them. And I've actually put it on them once. They gave us an invoice, and I went back to them and I asked them, hey, are we on schedule? Are we where we need to be? And they looked into it and they said, we're not exactly where we want to be, so don't pay this time around, which is just, it's an awesome thing because you don't have the company breathing down your neck and demanding money. They want to perform and then get paid. Again, another huge difference. Really that's about all that I have for the update. Again, we're very happy with this company so far. Things are going very well with and I'd like to know if you guys have any questions, and if you do, I'd be happy to answer them.
Do any of the commissioners have any questions?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Trent, I really, we've had a number of meetings both before the year and after the year, and I really appreciate the job you do. And I just wanted to thank you for the job you do. And I assume that in the upcoming budget discussions that we're going to be having the first week of April is when this 300,000 additional expenses will be brought forward by your department for funding. Is that correct?
Well, in prior discussions, we talked about funding, and I do have technology funds that I receive on an annual basis, and that they're just commissions based on personal property taxes that are billed. And each year I get an amount into that fund, and the assessor's office has dedicated about 300,000 to transfer over. I believe most, if not all, that has been paid so far. I'd have to check with Terry Willoughby on that. Has actually been paid out of that tech fund. So in total, I mean, we probably have another 90,000 or so that's dedicated from the tech fund, and then the other stuff comes from I believe Terry said it's going to be funded from the 410. So it is something that that it is. We do have a fund that those monies will be paid out of.
Thank you.
Trent, just a couple of quick questions. So the software you're developing will be proprietary to Douglas County?
Yes. Yeah. The great thing about that is whatever we build and whatever we have in the database, that is ours. Which is
should we trademark this or patent it?
No. Other Nevada counties are going to hop on. So some of you were on the board when this happened and some were not. We were the pioneers of leaving the prior company. And since then we've had 4 others, and I've heard that 1 more is on their way out. So that's going to be 6 total of the 14 counties that did go with the prior company that are moving on and coming on with GSA. But no, we don't need to do all that kind of stuff. We want to be friendly and share all of our information and whatnot and ideas with other counties, so we're all consistent and do things the same way.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Trent, Walt Nosad for the record. The company that provided you the software, it sounds like it's a basic chunk of software which you can have them modify to your needs. Is that correct?
No, this is all custom built. So for Nevada, because we are so specific in what we do by law, they actually did have to custom build the program for both Washoe County, Lyon County, and they're able to model what they did with Lyon County for us, which is, again, it's great because it cuts down on our time. So I wouldn't say that it's a basic package. The prior one was a basic package, and they tried to fit the square peg into a round hole, and it did not work. This one is working out fantastic.
How long has it been since the existing vendor started making steps toward developing the software?
Oh, that's a good question. I know they started out again with Lyon County, and so it's been roughly 1.5 to 2 years that they started with them. And then now with us, we went into contract with them February of 2020. We really started working on the program, I would say around August. And then we're into the heavy weeds now. And I'm kind of glad you brought that up because it reminded me that to tell you guys that the way they structure their meetings, we have a weekly meeting about the data conversion. And then we have a monthly meeting with the entire group, the whole company. I shouldn't say the whole company, but some of the key players, I should say, and they talk about the developments, what we still need to work on, how we're going to do it. The communication is just phenomenal. It's been a great experience so far.
Okay, I just want to say my background is in developing software from a project management perspective. And that starts from the very, very beginning in which you sit down with the vendor and you tell him what you need. Did that occur?
Oh, yes. Yeah. That not only did that occur, but they actually went into our system and they learned about our system and said, okay, the assessor and the treasurer, they know so much about what they do, which is, we know quite a bit about what we do, but the back end system, we don't know everything that goes on there. So they actually went into the system, they did their homework, and they're taking stuff from our old system and they're either replicating it or they're making it better. There are things we have to do by law, so we're doing those things, making sure those stay in place. But there are processes that we go through that with this old antiquated system, it's a little difficult to do. So it's nice to be able to listen to these guys and their ideas and say, oh my goodness, that's going to make life a bit easier for us. we're definitely going to do that when we go live with them.
Thanks very much, Mr. Tolan.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Trent? Trent, thanks very much. I just, it was a good session because it kind of brings everybody up to speed, and the new commissioners have a handle on what you're wrestling with. So just keep at it and we'll get it done. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, and thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to add one comment.
Yes.
Trent is following in the footsteps, or hopefully not in the shadow, of the prior assessor, who was, by the way, the first tax assessor I've ever seen that got a standing O every time he walked into the room.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is because your office has done such a magnificent job of being fair and impartial. And I believe that everyone in the county that knows anything about you or your office is very comfortable in what you do and how you do it. And I want to thank you for a job well done.
You're welcome, Wes. And I'll just add on to that a little bit. I do have a magnificent staff, not only just to the public, but to people within the county. And they have played an instrumental role so far in this project. And it is going to be because of them. No one person can do this, but it is because of them that this project will end up being a huge success, and it will be a huge benefit to the folks of Douglas County, because they're gonna love this product when it's done. The end result so far in Lyon County has just been great. They're gonna have more access to information online, and it will actually make our lives a little easier too. So thanks, Wes.
Any other
I'll ditto what Commissioner Rice said.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Trent, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Move on to item number 4 for possible action. Discussion to approve a professional services agreement with Regional Government Services, RGS, for the New World System Process Improvement Project in the amount not to exceed $80,000 as recommended by the Douglas County Audit Committee. Adopt resolution 2021R-029er, augmenting the Finance Department budget, and authorize Patrick Cates to execute the agreement for the management and administration services. Ms. Willoughby, you have the floor.
Thank you, Terry Willoughby, for the record. Since I've been here, I noticed there were a number of processes that were done manually that I knew could be done in our financial system. We also had internal audit findings, which are attached to this item regarding our use of New World systems. And we've really been searching for a solution. We also had some financial audit findings regarding security system, which you recently heard from our auditors. And we looked for a solution that would resolve all of these issues. And our Regional Government Services is very skilled in implementing New World systems and setting it up. And they will be able to come in and work with us. And they've already pointed out some areas where we could just change some things within the system and eliminate manual processes and automate those. And it would, they're very skilled. We need someone that would be able to look at the internal control side and then also look at the system side. So they have accountants and sort of system people that can help resolve some of the security issues regarding segregation of duties. So I really feel that this is going to be a beneficial thing to the county and will put us where we need to be with New World systems. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any of the commissioners have any questions or comments? Commissioner Gardner?
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Ms. Willoughby, you indicate here reduce the need for manual processes. Are you talking about labor savings, time savings in regards
I am.
to?
That's correct. Currently, there's finance staff that are preparing some journal entries after the payroll runs to correct the way some of the entries are made, and there's ways we can correct that within the system that those entries would automatically happen, and we wouldn't need to have staff doing that.
Very good. And I assume that whenever you leave it up to manual processes, there's always the opportunity for error.
There is.
I salute you on this. That's good.
Well, thank you. I'm a big believer if you're paying for an ERP system, then we should be getting the most for our money out of that ERP system. And this will help us to do that.
Any other questions? Well, sounds good, Ms. Willoughby, because that system seems to be working pretty well for us, and it's great that you guys feel comfortable with it and are using it to its maximum capabilities. That's good. So we support all that. Would somebody care to make a motion?
I'll make the motion. I move that we approve resolution, to approve the professional services agreement with Regional Government Services, RGS, the New World Systems Process Improvement Project in an amount not to exceed $80,000 as recommended by the Douglas County Audit Committee, and adopt resolution 2021R-2029, augmenting the finance department budget, and authorize Patrick Cates to execute the agreement and execute the agreement.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Nosad, a second by Commissioner Rice. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Willoughby. Okay, item number 5 for possible action. Discussion to approve the Finance Department request to create a new FTE and position of grants administration at the P15 pay grade as recommended by the Douglas County Audit Committee. Ms. Willoughby, you have the floor again.
Thank you, Terry Willoughby, for the record. As I mentioned at the audit committee, and you have also heard the findings from the county's single audit, and it's become apparent to me that we need to let the county departments do what they do best, and that's do their operations. And I don't think that grant management, as far as the financial side, is always their expertise. So I would like to bring a position in, and requesting that position that would provide assistance to the departments, make sure we're in compliance with the federal grants that we're receiving and all grants, and also assist in grant writing. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. I think this is a position, many of our local area counties have this position in place.
Anybody have any comments or questions of Ms. Willoughby?
I have one. Ms. Willoughby, would this position, in addition to administering the grants, would this position be reaching out, looking for and securing future grants for different functions within this county?
Terry Willoughby, for the record, that's what I'm envisioning. There's a lot of different software packages that really help with that, as well as just searching grants.gov. And it's a matter of just going in there and looking for them and then funneling them out and working with the various departments on those.
Thank you.
Commissioner Gardner?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mark Gardner for the record. Ms. Willoughby, we actually get, it seems like every board meeting we have, we've had one or more grants that we've accepted. It seems to be a very common occurrence for us. And it seems to be an important aspect of our financial well-being in supplementing our budgets. Do you have any idea of exactly how many grants that we obtain on an annual basis and maybe the dollar amount that we obtain? Is there any number to that?
Sure, just hold on just a second.
Ms. Willoughby, while you're looking this up, this will include all grants like FAA grants to the airport and things of that nature?
It's particularly federal grants. So the total grant expenditures in fiscal year 1920 per our single audit was $8,411,200. And that's before the CARES Act and now the American Rescue Act. So there's quite a bit, and you have one or two mistakes on a federal single audit, and that's going to affect all of your grants going forward. So it's really important to make sure everybody's in compliance with the grant regulations.
So this includes all grants, everything from everywhere in the county.
Most grants that we receive are at their origin federal. Even if they come through the state doesn't have a lot of money, discretionary money. So most grants are federal that are passed through the state, but they're still considered federal funds.
Thank you.
Okay. Where I was going with this, Ms. Willoughby, is that we get concerns from the public of always growing government. And so we want to be careful here in growing government. But this seems to me to be an important aspect of your department anyways, that it's more than, we have to be careful of how these funds are expended and making sure we're staying within the guidelines so that we don't lose them and perhaps grow our grant process. So I think this position more than pays for itself. And so I'm certainly inclined to join you in the audit committee in regards to acceptance of this. It looks like Mr. Cates has a comment as well.
Mr. Cates, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just add a comment to what Mr. Gardner had said about being careful about how we grow government. I just want you to know that we have been looking at this for quite some time. Terry and I have been talking about a grant manager position for at least a year. And those who've been on the board for a while may recall that Terry did some reorg of the finance department, and we're going to see how that goes if we could divide up duties and provide some enhanced oversight to grants. And we've really come to the conclusion that we need this specialized position, but it wasn't taken lightly. We've been looking at this for over a year to try to find a way to do it without adding FTE counts.
Right. The other comment I wanted to make in that regard is the understanding of full-time equivalents versus full-time positions. And this is going to be a designated person. It's not going to be split up into two part-time positions. It's going to be one full-time position, not one full-time equivalent, right? There's a little nuance there. And
that's correct.
I think it's important that we have one person dedicated to following this on a regular daily basis, and then also going out and looking for other opportunities of grants as well. So that's what I wanted to ask for clarification on as well.
Terry Willoughby, for the record, that's correct. It will be a full-time position housed in the finance department, reporting directly to myself. And I would add, there is typically an administrative allowance in most grants that will eventually probably cover part of this funding, part of this cost of this position.
Good deal.
And in conjunction with all this, it's recommended by the outside auditors that we go forward with this. So any other questions or comments? Ms. Willoughby, thank you very much for the enlightening presentation so that we are well aware of what's going on. And if you have nothing further, we'll move on to the next item.
Well, I think we need to, I think we have to have the motion and we have to approve this, Mr. Chair. So In light of that, because you want to move on to the next item, I will move to approve the Finance Department's request to create a new FTE and the position of Grants Administrator at the P1.5 pay grade as recommended by the Douglas County Audit Committee.
You're a second.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gardner, a second by Commissioner Tarkanian. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries 5-0. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item 6. And what we'll do here is we'll read the item in to the record, and then Doug Ritchie will have comments on it, and then we will take public comments. Okay, item number 6 for possible action. Discussion on the adoption of Ordinance 2021-1580, an ordinance to amend Title 20, Appendix B of the Douglas County Consolidated Development Code by adopting revisions to the 2018 International Fire Code by adding a new section 903.2.4, exempting manufactured homes from the requirement to install automatic sprinkler systems if specified conditions are met. Mr. Ritchie?
Thank you, Chairman. Doug Ritchie with the Douglas County District Attorney's Office. Almost 2 years ago, the Board of County Commissioners adopted the 2018 revisions to the International Fire Code with certain county-specific revisions. Among those were requirements to install automatic sprinklers under certain circumstances. At that time, the board indicated that they would like to re-examine this after some time had passed. The county has received information from builders, from homeowners. I've had correspondence with probably 4 or 5 attorneys on these revisions, and we've tried to work together to bring forward kind of an update on how this ordinance has impacted the citizens of Douglas County, as well as some possible revisions to the county code. In essence, these proposed revisions, if adopted, would maintain the status quo, but allow homeowners to come to the board and request an exemption from the automatic sprinkler for manufactured homes in certain circumstances. Some of the factors that the board would consider is distance from a fire station. NRS 278.586 contains some of the factors that the board would consider. Basically, it allows the board to consider on a case-by-case basis whether the imposition of an automatic fire sprinkler system would be appropriate in a particular manufactured home. I'm available for comments. I have reached out. I've had extensive discussions with East Fork Chief Todd Carlini, as well as Fire Marshal Amy Ray. I also had some conversations with Eric Gavon, who I think has been out of the office. But again, I'm available to answer any questions.
Is Natalie available? Okay, at this time, we'll open this for public comment. Natalie, you want to take charge of that?
Yes, Natalie Wood for the record. I did have 2 callers indicate that they wanted to provide public comment on this one, so we'll start with them, starting with Jim. Anyone else that would like to provide public comment on this item, please raise your hand and you will be put in the queue. Okay, Jim, are you there?
I am here. I just got unmuted.
Go ahead and start.
What am I?
Timer.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Go ahead and state your name for the record, and then I'll start the timer.
My name is Jim Duby, D-U-B-Y. We have a piece of property down on Bosler that we're going to put a manufactured house on. One of the questions I came up with just now, I didn't realize this was just for manufactured houses. What makes manufactured houses different than stick-built houses as far as the fire sprinklers go? And with that, is there any other options to come up with water holding tanks and possibly hydrants to aid the fire department with their help putting out fire? That's pretty much all I've got, so that'll end me.
Okay, thank you for your time. Okay, we will go to Lynn Muzzy next. Are you there, Lynn?
Yes, I'm ready when you are.
Perfect. Go ahead and state your name and then I'll start the timer.
Sure. Lynn Muzzy, M-U-Z-Z-Y. Item 6 would be a gift to the landowner who was improperly allowed to remove agricultural zoning on his property by selling off his water rights. This ordinance would allow him to cut home prices at the cost of life safety. As to exempting manufactured homes from the requirement to install automatic sprinkler systems, this is senior housing. Manufactured houses are more vulnerable to fire than traditional houses. If one goes up, the fire will readily spread to adjacent structures. Attempting to escape would be difficult for elderly and disabled people. Many of these occupants will have oxygen apparatus. Add in the narrow roads and you've got the makings of a death trap. The closest firehouse to this proposed project that I could find is a volunteer station on the other side of 395 in the Ranchos. I understand that this station is unmanned until a call out, at which time the volunteers suit up in their turnout gear at their homes and then go rushing to the station. That equates to a leisurely 30 minutes to an hour response time. The commissioners are being asked to accept that the cost related to the installation of an automatic sprinkler system exceeds the benefits of an automatic sprinkler system to the homeowner. Even if an original homeowner agrees with that statement, subsequent owners who will want the protection are going to find a retrofit very, very expensive. I direct your attention to the critically important analysis that Ellie Waller has provided to you in your packets for the details of this, and I thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. We will go through our, that was it for callers, so we'll go through those that are raising their hands. We'll start with Joshua.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. For the record, this is Josh Hicks. I'm an attorney at McDonald Carano, and I'm before you today representing the Nevada Housing Alliance, which is a nonprofit trade association representing the manufactured home industry. I'd like to start by thanking Mr. Ritchie and your staff for working with us over the last several months as we sought a resolution to the concern of significant costs that we were seeing in sprinkler systems for manufactured homes. These manufactured homes already have significant costs with respect to WUI packages, and the sprinkler system can become a massive part of the cost of that home as well. We put some information into a letter, which is part of the record, and we put some examples in that showed one in Gardnerville where a sprinkler system would be about $11.74 a square foot, and another one in Douglas County that actually came out to $35 and some change per square foot for a sprinkler system. There's also a few letters on the record, and I just wanted to direct your attention to them from Mr. and Mrs. Carrillo, Mr. and Mrs. Geiger, and Mr. Stubbs, all who have very similar stories in terms of the costs of these sprinklers. This ordinance, which we worked on with the county, I think represents a very good compromise between the interests. It represents consumer choice in that it gives consumers an opportunity to decide for themselves if they want a sprinkler system in their manufactured home. If they do, it gives an opportunity to the county and to fire in particular to weigh in and see whether they think a sprinkler system is appropriate. And ultimately, like many cost-benefit decisions, it can come down to the county if that needs to happen. So this ordinance we view as a good balance of the interests, helps with the costs that can be significant on these homes, and we urge this commission to adopt the ordinance. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have a question. Mr. Hicks, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Why is it so expensive per square foot to install these sprinkler systems? It's my understanding, like down in the Las Vegas area, they can do it for $2 to $3 a square. Do you have any idea about that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to answer that. When you're looking at a stick-built home in a subdivision, around $2 a square foot is generally the price we have seen for our clients throughout the state. And that is, because those are they're built around the same time, the same models. There's usually water systems that are put in place that are easy to tap into. Manufactured homes, these tend to be more one-off home purchases and placements. The sprinkler systems need to be put in at the start as a custom order. Many times there's not a water system readily available. So when you see some of the costs, so we mentioned this in our letter, many times a well needs to be dug, a pump needs to be put into place, and it dramatically increases the cost. So it's really an economies of scale issue, and that's why you see it so much higher on a manufactured home.
Well, another question is, are these manufactured homes today manufactured to WUI compliance?
They are, whenever they are placed in an area that's in the WUI zone, they are manufactured with a WUI package on them. And that does add additional cost as well.
Yeah, because I don't have any stats about, how effective that is or anything. So if it's WUI compliance, can you give us maybe an example of some places where these are being put in place?
The sprinklers, you mean, Mr. Chairman?
No, some of these pre-built homes that are being utilized now, and they're WUI compliant. Are there any in our area? Are there any in Carson? Any?
Yes, I can't give you a specific example, but I know when we've gone through it with our clients, many of the homes that are being put into place right now are in that WUI interface area, and they do have a WUI package put on them. That's all throughout Douglas County, so they do get that package. The WUI package, I'll note, is primarily an exterior protection package. It protects the structure from a fire coming in from the outside. So it's a little bit different than what we're talking about with sprinklers as well.
Because one of the things I've heard from the fire departments is that there's so much synthetic material in not only pre-manufactured homes, but furniture and things like that, that sometimes an internal sprinkler system is a benefit because the synthetic material has a tendency to be more volatile in a fire. Have you got any feedback on that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Manufactured homes, just like stick-built homes, have to be built with materials that are compliant with the latest version of the fire code and the building codes. As you might imagine, those get stricter every couple of years when those codes are updated. The materials that homes are being built with today are some of the safest materials that are out there. And I anticipate as technology increases, that will only get better. But these homes are built to very strict standards. Manufactured homes are held to those strict standards as well.
Thank you. Any other comments from the commissioners or questions?
Public comment, Chairman.
I think we're still in. Are we still in public comment?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll
I'll withhold my comments until we finish.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Next one, Natalie Wood for the record. Next one I have is Susan Fisher. Susan, are you there? Susan, are you available for public comment? Okay, we'll move on to Todd.
Thank you. Todd Stroup, Acting Fire Marshal for Tahoe Douglas Fire Department, for the record. We are concerned with the unintended consequences of making this change to code. The benefits of fire sprinkler systems cannot be overstated, as the positive effects for occupants and firefighter safety is readily apparent by the examination of historical data. Numerous fire investigations have revealed that a lack of an automatic fire suppression system is a major contributing factor in fatal fires. This includes both those living in the home and responding firefighters. Properly installed and maintained fire sprinkler systems reduce the average property loss from a fire by 1/2 to 2/3 and reduces injuries, loss of life, and property damage by at least 50%. These systems are designed to control a fire, allowing occupants time to evacuate a burning building, while the fire department responds and performs an initial fire attack. During this initial attack, the sprinkler system is also protecting our firefighters by significantly offsetting the risk of premature building collapse posed by the lightweight construction. By controlling this fire growth, fire sprinkler systems also reduce the likelihood that a home becomes fully involved by a fire. A home that's fully involved by a fire produces enough heat to ignite the surrounding structures without direct flame contact. This structure-to-structure ignition is exactly what we saw during the deadly campfire in 2018 that devastated the town of Paradise. The campfire started in the woods, sending embers into Paradise, which set homes ablaze. These homes quickly became fully involved, igniting the neighboring structures, leading to an uncontrolled conflagration and the destruction of that town. We have the same wildland-urban interface as Paradise here at the lake. In addition to protecting homes from wildland to structure ignition, the fire sprinklers also reduce the probability of fires moving from the homes into the wildland. There is a need to have fire sprinklers installed in homes. The last fire fatality in the Tahoe Douglas Fire Protection District occurred in a manufactured home. A sheriff's deputy on patrol was the first on scene and was able to see the victim just inside the door. The individual was so close to escaping that the deputy was able to reach and pull the victim out prior to the fire department being on scene. Unfortunately, it was too late as they had inhaled a fatal amount of smoke. Had fire sprinklers been installed, there would likely be a very different outcome. Fire sprinklers are the best tool at our disposal to prevent fire deaths in homes. This change to code would increase the risk to our communities. In the Tahoe Township, all homes, regardless of size, are required to have a fire sprinkler system installed. The proximity to other homes and the wildland are significant threats, and changing this ordinance would allow homes to be brought into the district that would provide a lower level of safety, not only to those living within them, but to their neighborhoods. The current ordinance protects our community and prevents the senseless loss of life. And adopting this means
Sorry, that was your time's up.
and a responding firefighter
Continue, Natalie.
in an already perilous situation. Thank you, commissioners, for your consideration on this item.
Thanks, Natalie. Any other comments out there, Natalie?
I have one more. We'll try Susan one more time and see if she's able to speak now.
Okay, thank you.
Susan, did you have public comment?
Yes. Can you hear me this time?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you very much. There were Susan Fisher, for the record, Fisher with McDonald Carano, and I represent Nevada Housing Alliance, which is the statewide association for manufactured home dealers. And we've been working with our customers in Douglas County who are purchasing beautiful new manufactured homes and then getting the sticker shock when they find out what the sprinklers are going to cost. There were a couple of letters that were submitted that actually were submitted late and did not make it into your packet because they were submitted late. But a couple of things that I would like to point out is that there have been no manufactured home fires in Douglas County for many years. The only residential fire death in Douglas County in the last 10 years or so was not in a manufactured home. It was in an apartment. In Paradise, California, sprinklers would not have helped any home in that inferno there. So as Josh Hicks put on the record, it does raise the cost significantly to these folks. And I would also like to make one clarification. There's been reference to stick-built as opposed to manufactured homes. It's really stick-built versus site-built because manufactured homes are stick-built. As Josh Hicks pointed out, they're built to all the same standards as site-built homes. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any additional public comment at this time, so I think we're good.
All right, we'll open it up. Commissioner Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've looked at this and I've studied this issue. I look at the requirements should we pass this resolution, and I spoke in favor of this resolution or ordinance earlier when we first heard it. And so the thing I'd like to point attention to is it's talking about the exemption for manufactured homes. And it says, notwithstanding any provision of section 903.2, approved automatic sprinkler systems are not required in any manufactured home if each of the following conditions are satisfied. And that's important to understand, is if each of the following conditions are satisfied. A, the manufactured home has less than 5,000 square feet of livable space. Quite honestly, I live in a manufactured home here in TRE, and I can't imagine a manufactured home being greater than 5,000 square feet. The opportunities for that are very remote. In addition, it says the purchaser of the manufactured home declines in writing to the seller to have an automatic system installed. But the most important issue here is, in my opinion, is number 3, where the Board of County Commissioners, this is required, okay? The Board of County Commissioners makes a finding at a public hearing that the unique characteristics or location of the manufactured home, when compared to manufactured homes of comparable size or location within the county, will not cause an unreasonable delay in firefighting response time. That is an important thing for me, in that all of these things must come, if we approve this, must come before us in order to receive that exemption. And I can tell you, this I'm certainly interested in taking a look at the WUI requirements in selected areas within our county, but I'm concerned that the affordability of these homes for not only the young families trying to get into the market on acreage and TRE, and also
Yeah, it looks like that. Mark, Can you hear us? He may have lost his feed. Are there any other comments? Oh, there you go. Mark, you lost.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm trying to get on again. Trying to see where it is. Oh, here it is. So in conclusion, I'm still, I expressed support of this before and I haven't changed my mind.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman, I do.
Yes, Commissioner Rice.
Mr. Chairman, I concur with Commissioner Gardner. I believe that we have too many nanny laws. We go into too many people's houses and tell them how to live, how to build, how to whatever. And I see this, I can understand the arguments. What happened in Paradise was absolutely incredibly evil and horrible, but you can't judge every building by what happened there, because that was something that was totally unique and something that I cannot see happening here in Douglas County, especially up here at the lake. So for that reason, I support this resolution, and I think that if by not supporting it, we're going way too far into other people's lives. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I got my hand up.
Okay, I'm sorry. Commissioner Tarkanian, you have the floor.
I thought what Commissioner Gardner and Commissioner Rice just stated, they both said it very well for the way I stand. And I don't want to waste a lot of the board's time, but I just reiterate that for this to take place, it's not an automatic. You don't have to build put the sprinkler system in if the builder doesn't want to. The buyer must make the request. The board then has the opportunity to review it and make that decision if they feel it's appropriate. It's not an automatic, hey, we're going to eliminate the fire sprinkler system because some builder wants to save some cost. And I agree with the cost benefit analysis. You know, to put this type of cost on manufactured homes, which a lot of people buy because it's more reasonably affordable for them, you're denying them home ownership, and that they are having the choice whether they want to buy the home without the sprinkler system. You know, we see what's happening here with COVID, and so many people complain that, hey, the governor's got all these ridiculous restrictions, it's taking away our constitutional right, and the governor's doing things that he thinks might save one more life, when he doesn't put in the cost benefit analysis, what it's doing to small businesses, what it's doing to young kids, what it's doing to people's mental and emotional state. I think, you know, we need to look at the effect we have on people that really want to have a home, can't afford it otherwise. We are a community of that values personal choice and personal responsibility. And for those reasons, I'm going to be in favor of this motion also.
Any other comments? I'd like to chime in here a little bit because, okay, this is just taking into account one form of home ownership, and it seems somewhat discriminatory against somebody who's going to build a custom home on a lot somewhere. It's not a development. And there are building materials today that are so effective against fires, rock wool, some of these things, they simply don't burn. And depending on the construction of the home and the way it's designed, they can be just as effective as these manufactured homes. So I agree with everybody. There's kind of a dilemma here that this is only, you know, the Manufactured Home Association, well, they've got a lot of horsepower. They can go get an attorney and a lobbyist. But somebody who's just building a home for themselves, they can't do that. So this seems a little bit discriminatory. I'd be in favor of a case-by-case basis. I hear what the fire department is saying, and it's tragic. we all deal with that risk, but to make it equitable to all parties, I think we need to address that as well. Any other further comments? Commissioner Rice, or excuse me, Commissioner Noasad.
I'd like to draw everybody's attention to the third part of this formula. Number one was manufactured home less than 5,000 square feet. Anybody with half a brain would understand that this doesn't make sense. But the purchaser of the manufactured home declines in writing to the seller to have an automatic sprinkler system installed. And then the third one, the Board of County Commissioners makes a finding at a public hearing that unique characteristics or location of the manufactured home when compared to manufactured home of comparable size or location within the county will not cause an unreasonable delay in firefighter response time. Now, if we pass this whole thing as it is, there's going to be a big loophole here in item 3 that you're going to have to decide on every time someone petitions us. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Mr. Ritchie, do you have anything to add?
Thank you, Chairman. Doug Ritchie with the District Attorney's Office. I appreciate the public comments that have been shared. I will note that if there's any petition, well, the default is that they still have to comply with the county code. This allows them the option to say, my unique circumstances don't warrant this. And a copy of the petition must be served on the fire marshal. So, Fire Marshal Gavon or Fire Marshal Ray will have an opportunity to come in and make the kinds of arguments that Captain Stroup made today. In other words, this allows both the future homeowner as well as the board to look at each unique circumstances of each case to see if this is appropriate. Otherwise, they will have to install a fire sprinkler.
Mr. Ritchie, would this or should this apply to a regular manufactured SFR type residence as well as a prefab home? I mean, are we discriminating here?
Thank you, Chairman. Doug Ritchie with the Douglas County District Attorney's Office. The short answer is no. The board is not discriminating. If you look at NRS Chapter 278, it talks about a cost-benefit analysis. And when you look at a site-built home versus a manufactured home, the costs associated with a sprinkler and what people call a stick-built home or traditional home versus a manufactured home, it sometimes doesn't pencil out, as the supplemental material points out. Now, whether that is enough to mean that they don't have to install this is up to the board with input from the fire marshal. Again, this is not an absolute waiver of this requirement. It is, if the board deems appropriate based on the facts and circumstances, it may be appropriate. But as far as it being discriminatory, no. The statute itself talks about a cost-benefit analysis.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
One more.
Yes.
Addressing Mr. Ritchie. Seems to me that with this section changed, the way it's written, it's still up to the board to make a decision as to whether that mobile home should have a sprinkler system installed. And then if we say, no, doesn't require it, and then the place burns down, who's responsible? Who's going to get sued?
It's, Chairman, if I may.
Yes, Mr. Ritchie.
Well, it's called Discretionary Act Immunity. It's basically if the board had a hearing, there was evidence presented, and in good faith, the board made a decision whether to approve or deny an exemption, the courts generally will defer to another elected body. It's like a trial court judge hearing evidence and then the appellate court listening to it and saying, I'm not going to second guess what the trial judge heard and decided after hearing the evidence. You are going to be the ones looking these people in the face. You're the one that's going to be hearing the evidence. Again, does that mean the county won't be sued? No, but whether you adopt this or not, or grant or deny an exemption, you are just as likely to be sued.
Mr. Ritchie, now, will this apply to both manufactured and site-built homes, or just to manufactured?
Thank you, Chairman. Doug Ritchie again with the District Attorney's Office. Again, the adoption of the 2018 International Fire Code applies to anything that's constructed within Douglas County. This exemption option is only available to manufactured homes, primarily because of the examples of the allegedly disproportionate impact this has on the cost to have a new manufactured home built.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? Commissioner Gardner?
Mr. Chair, are we ready for a motion? Is that what I'm sensing?
Go ahead. Go for a
I would move to adopt ordinance number 2021-1580, an ordinance to amend Title 20, Appendix B of the Douglas County Consolidated Development Code by adopting a revision to the 2018 International Fire Code by adding a new section 903.2.4, exempting manufactured homes from the requirement to install automatic sprinkler systems if specific conditions are met, as in the ordinance.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gardner, a second by Commissioner Rice. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? The motion carries 5-0. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Item number 7, for possible action, discussion and direction to staff regarding legislation or legislative issues proposed by legislators or by other entities permitted by the Nevada State Legislature to submit bill drafts, requests, or such legislative issues that may impact Douglas County as may be deemed appropriate by the Board of County Commissioners. Mr. Cates, you have the floor.
Call may be recorded. Welcome to Bank of America. You've reached.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. I don't have a lot to cover today. I really have no major updates. The legislature moved their deadline to introduce bills. It was last Monday. They've extended that a week for most bills. So I haven't seen as many new bills as we were hoping to see. Just very briefly, a couple of things that we've talked about before that have had a little bit of movement. AB1, that is the training for new legislators on local government. That was passed out of committee. And SB 98, the bill regarding adding Story County to the Carson Water Subconservancy District, has a workshop today at 4 o'clock. Those are really the only updates I have. I do expect by our next meeting that most bills will be introduced, and I plan to cover probably a lot of legislation at that point, including I've been waiting for all the water bills to drop so I could kind of include all those together and give you that update as well. So more to come at our next meeting. That's the end of my report.
Commissioner Nosad?
Let's not forget AB 248. That's the weapon bill. A lot of constitutional infringement going on there. So benefit us to get a hold of our legislators and let them know how we feel.
I concur. I was going to comment on that one myself, Commissioner Nosad. it seems to me that just one more bite out of the apple, trying to make honest people felons, and the ones that they say that will affect, they won't have any effect whatsoever because they won't give a darn. But I think that people that are duly licensed and can carry a concealed weapon are within their rights to walk into just about any building because they have been vetted already. So I think we need to really look at this one and any other gun bill that is introduced.
And Commissioner Rice knows from where he speaks because he was a cop. So he knows.
Longer than I care to say.
Yeah,
I would characterize the biting of the apple as actually eating the whole thing.
yeah, well, I mean, Commissioner Rice has seen it and it doesn't change. So the people are trying to change it. I'm sorry, Commissioner Gardner.
Well, I was going to say, as chairman of the Carson Valley Friends of the NRA, if I don't say anything, I will get hundreds of emails this afternoon asking why I didn't chime in on this issue as well. Certainly, it's an infringement of our Second Amendment rights, and certainly we can't support that. And I would hope that, if anything, we might take a stance against that as a board. I also wanted to ask Mr. Cates if there was any update on the China Spring issue and funding of that, since we're still here on this subject.
I have no update on that at this time. We're still going through our proposal back to the committee, and there hasn't been any movement, no hearings on the budget for China Springs.
Mr. Case is. Go ahead, Commissioner Gardner.
Well, I was going to ask also regarding the passage of I know it's not COVID relief, but whatever it's called, the American Relief Act or whatever it's called, the 9.4 million coming to the county. I don't know if you want to share anything with the board in that regard, because I don't think we've talked about it since that's been passed.
We have not. That legislation has passed. I don't think this agenda item, the way it's written, we can really talk about it, but I planned on putting an item on the next agenda to brief the board on that issue. It did pass. Douglas County is supposed to get about $9.4 million, and we're still reading the bill and interpreting how the money can be used. But we'll put that on a future agenda.
Thank you.
Any other items? Commissioner Tarkanian.
Yes.
You've been a little quiet today.
I said I used up all of my verbiage in the last two meetings. I was trying to be more respectful to the rest of the board now.
Okay. Mr. Cates, anything of relevance and of late in regard to opening up the county?
In terms of legislation?
Yes, I mean, what we as commissioners, what kind of latitude might we have, say, coming into the month of April, to be able to tell business owners or restaurants, people like that? Do you have anything? Have you heard anything?
We are, I've been attending, Mr. Chairman, if I may, maybe we could do that on the final agenda item when we talk about updates from the boards.
Okay.
I talk a little bit about that. I don't want to speak off agenda.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other items or points of discussion in regard to this possible action item? Or it's not an action item, it's a presentation. Seeing none, now we'll go to item 9, presentation only. Reports, updates from county commissioners, members concerning various boards and commissions that may be members of or liaison or meetings, lectures attended, and so forth. Anybody have anything? And Mr. Cates, if you want to start off with this.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I've attended a few meetings, actually. There was a meeting with NACO where Caleb Cage attended that meeting. Caleb is the director for the governor for COVID. I forget his exact title, but he chairs the COVID task force. The governor published his intention to turn over to local control by May 1st. COVID mitigation and management, the local government. That comes with a lot of strings. There will still be several of his directives that would remain in place. Businesses would continue to be regulated by the state depending on the type of business. For instance, gaming, anybody with an unrestricted gaming license would continue to be regulated as far as COVID by the Gaming Control Board. Businesses that are subject to OSHA inspection, which is most businesses, would continue to fall under their jurisdiction. But they do want plans from the counties for things that we would cover. A lot of it is things we're already doing, like our testing and vaccination program. In his document, he talked about enforcement. There has been a lot of discussion about particularly rural counties unwilling and unable to do any enforcement. Either they lack the legal structure to do that, like not having business licenses, or simply the will to impose local government on businesses related to the governor's directives. The state seems to be okay with that. They do want us to present plans by April 15th to be effective May 1st. Those plans are supposed to be approved by all of the boards of county commissions. I attended the task force meeting on Tuesday, and I listened in on Wednesday and a little bit today as well. So they've been talking to all the counties. It is, I would say, cordial, and they've reiterated that they're not here to approve our plans, but just to provide input. So it's an evolving thing. I'm working with Carson City Health and Human Services as well as emergency management to put together a draft. Carson City's already done a little bit of this, and we'll see where that goes. We may need to look at scheduling a special Board of County Commissioners meetings in order to get that done by the 15th. But again, it's going to be a hybrid. There's still going to be a lot of state directives in place, but there would be some local control over COVID response, in particular related to approval of large events. And that's all I have on that.
Anybody else have anything on their boards and committees they belong to?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner Rice.
The LTVA and the TDVA had their meetings last week, and they wanted to report that the 2021 NHL game that we had here at the lake, a first time ever NHL sponsored event outside for 2 days. And they had on Saturday, they had a viewership audience of 1.7 mil. And Saturday's event had 1.019. We had free advertisement all over the United States. And the NHL has indicated that they're very pleased with South Lake Tahoe, and they're looking at bigger and better events in the future. Also, the Operation Sierra Storm, I don't know if you're aware of that. That's all of the weathermen, the weather forecasters. Sorry, I was politically incorrect there. The weather people from throughout the United States send representatives here for a big convention, which this year, unfortunately, was mostly done on Zoom. But that had an audience of 10 million people. Well, 10 million people for that event. And it was headlined by some of the better known weather forecasters from the major stations. And that's an annual event that we have here at Lake Tahoe. And we're hoping that next year's event will be in live once again. And lastly, the TDVA Board of Directors has approved Spectra, who will be the events center management company, who will consult during the construction and pre-opening, and they will be the one that will be handling everything inside the center, the hiring, the firing, the giving of contracts to who sells what hot dog to, and when they do it, and that sort of thing. So all of these things are taking shape, and things are moving right along, and very happy with the progress. Thank you.
Any other updates? Commissioner Gardner?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And as you know, we both of us attended the Sub-Conservancy District meeting, and it's being reported that our snowpack is non-existent. So our river flow is non-existent, and we need to be concerned about that as we go forward. I did have an opportunity this morning to participate in a 3-hour Zoom meeting with the visitors of the Carson Valley Visitors Authority just before this meeting. So there was a lot of things that are going forward there. They were curious about COVID and this opening process of May 1st and how they are going to be expected to proceed on that. And certainly we're probably the 3rd largest county in the state regarding casino operations, and the casino operations, the unrestricted casinos are still going to be under the control of the Nevada Gaming Board. So we're not going to really have a whole lot of jurisdiction over that on May 1st. But everybody is expressing a tremendous amount of COVID fatigue. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was expressed by the governor yesterday, COVID vaccinations are now going to be opened to 16 and over with underlying medical conditions having ability to get the vaccination as of, I'm not sure the exact date. Mr. Cates may be able to help me out with that. It may be March 22nd, I think, which would be what, next Monday? I think that might be the date when 16 and over with underlying conditions will be eligible for the vaccination. So hopefully we're moving in that direction. So, other than that, it's been very busy.
Mr. Gardner, in conjunction with what you were talking about with the Carson River Conservancy, they're coming out with a public relations video, and there was one little bit in there that we caught that is very important, and that is in regard to septic tank maintenance. And after we had that presentation by the USGS in regard to some of the nitrate plumes because of septic tank neglect in the valley here, this is something that, and we'll probably get back with the Conservancy and talk to Ed James, maybe about doing another video like that and have it in regard to septic tank maintenance. So I don't know if any of you guys are on septic tanks, but
I am.
Okay, well, I mean, you know that it's important to maintain those. So, and one other thing, I was talking with Mr. Cates about it, and this is in the nascent stage. It wasn't really a committee event. We were talking about, and he's going to, I don't know whether he has yet or not, talk to Lisa Granaham about having a gamblers fly-in. These guys that have airplanes, they go to different events, and they're in the Airline Pilots Association magazines and things like that. And the idea behind this was to have a package deal, 3 days, 2 days, or whatever, up at the lake. So they fly into our airport. We provide transportation and shuttle them up to the lake. they can stay at Edgewood, play golf or something. We don't even have any dates set or anything. And there was the necessity to talk to LTVA and those organizations up there in regard to the feasibility of their interest. We certainly have the airport. So anyway, this is something that might be fun. That's it.
So tell us about the stagecoach, Mr. Ingalls. I got a bunch of horses back there looking for something to harness to.
You know, this thing is moving along. It's bubbling. I get emails from JT and that group out there, and they're getting a collection of folks who are getting behind it, and it's going to happen. JT was a very strong force. He's going to be leaving, but he'll continue to help. And one of the things that I noticed was the video is running on my cloud account, and typically my cloud account, $5, maybe $10 a month. All of a sudden, this last bill was $40 because he put the link out to the video, and I think that the list was over 6,000 people, and they must have been looking at it because I've never seen a charge that high. So something's going on, but they're working on it. Mr. Cates?
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to follow up on Commissioner Gardner's comments about vaccine. Just to confirm those dates, March 22nd, all Nevadans 16 and older with underlying conditions will be able to get vaccines through pharmacies. I don't know if that's all pharmacies or just certain pharmacies they've signed up. And then April 5th, it's supposed to be all Nevadans. I believe it's all Nevadans over 16, I believe it is, will be able to get vaccines.
Thank you, Mr. Cates.
Commissioner Nosad?
To change subject, I'm going to read something to you. Are you the kind of person who sees meetings as a wonderful and personally fulfilling activity that you look forward to with great anticipation? I don't think so. If you were, you probably wouldn't be reading this book. Robert's Rules for Dummies.
There we go. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Whenever I'm having trouble falling asleep at night, there's the book.
There you go.
Yeah, but now these guys are going to start saying point of order, and they're going to go reference that book.
If any commissioner would like a copy, let me know.
All right. Did anybody attend the Rotary meeting this last week? Rob Hooper gave a pretty interesting presentation in regard to some of the things they're working on in relation to our county. Looking at the feasibility of a jet center at the airport. And this isn't like air transport with passengers and stuff. It's more like a dealership kind of thing. They're working hard on the movie industry and putting out more feelers because we're a lot more receptive up here to those production companies than they are down in LA. And he said something about, and I don't even know what this is, a company that will have approximately 600 employees, staff, that are interested in this area. I don't know what that meant. It was, it's still hush hush. And but usually when they get to this point and they even reach the issue, it's something that's of note. And that's all I know. Okay. Any other items of interest? Okay, if that being the case, we will now open up. Natalie, are you available for closing public comments?
Natalie Wood here for the record. Please let me know if you'd like to provide any closing public comment at this time. Raise your hand. We have two attendees from the public. No callers at this point. And I don't see either of them raising their hand. I know there is a little bit of a delay on the live stream, so maybe we could give it a minute, Chairman.
Yes, go ahead. Gentlemen, we may set a record here today.
Quite possible.
Mr. Chair, you need to come up with something. It's way too early for cocktail time.
You're right. I mean, I'd never even make it to dinner if I started now.
Don't tease him, Mr. Rice.
It's fun to laugh about, but trust me, I've got a nurse behind me. As soon as I pour a drink, I'm out.
Yeah.
The back of the head slap, you know?
Yeah, right. Well, the bottom line is, we hear all of these things and you all attend different meetings and so forth. And it's it comes back to the same thing. It's always hard to disseminate information for folks all around the county. And so, I mean, like Wes talking about the size of those TV audiences, that's pretty huge. And the fact that it's not costing anything to us, and plus some of the other things that in the committees you guys are on, that we've got things going on around the county. So it's and they all seem to be pretty darn good. I mean, it's going to bring recognition and revenue to the county, and some of them are in the pipeline and working. I think come springtime we'll see a lot more. So, and I'm ready for spring, I'll tell you. You get out on that tractor on these windy days with that wind coming down off those mountains, it is cold. It is amazing how cold it is.
There's a cure for that.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't do it.
I have to get off the tractor to do that. Looks like burn season will go into May. We talked about the ditches opening up with the water. Ed James didn't know. He's going to call the federal water master to find out, when they plan on opening up. They probably won't run very long this year because of the lack of water or snowpack. And the record here on the Edna ditch since I've been here was into September. I don't think we'll get that this year by any close call, but they're talking about, what did they say, Mark? They're going to cut it off in June or July, probably, something like that. And this is based on the snowpack.
Yep, the lack thereof.
Yeah, exactly. So that Carson, it's interesting when you get on this committee and you start listening to the information and what they're doing. It's not a major river system, but it is just a vital river system to our area and the adjacent counties that are part of the Carson River. And it's well, you can see from the days back when the area was first settled, they had to water their pastures with the water from the Carson River. They didn't have pumps to pump out of the aquifers. That's what does sustain the area. And it's not much different today. Well, we don't have anybody calling in, Natalie?
Nope. We've had the public comment open for 3 minutes now. We opened it at 2:56 and it's 3 p.m. I don't have anyone that logged in or called in, and I don't have any hands raised. So
If you gentlemen have nothing further to comment on, we will consider this meeting adjourned. Thank you.